Hi guys. So I really want to go through some of the past updates that I've learned about in the news, and what I've learned is, I think, very helpful for us Trump supporters. So as you guys are probably well aware, Mitch McConnell came out and asked the senators not to support any type of dissidence, any type of rebuttal to the current electors for Joe Biden. Okay. What? Why on earth, if you are a purported Republican, okay, you are supposed to be in support of the current president, why in the world would you ever say that you do not want the Senate to support any type of disapproval for the current electorals votes that went in for Biden? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so people lost their minds. Twitter was blowing up. Everybody could not believe he came out and said that. And I thought to myself, obviously he's not afraid to say this. Why wouldn't he be afraid to say this? With all of these Trump supporters coming out, rallying, raising support, pushing for Trump to keep going, why would he say this? Follow the money. Okay, so everybody was going off and on about Swalwell, right? Swalwell came out and, well, he didn't do it himself. Somebody ratted him out as being a compromised government official. Why? Because his girlfriend is a Chinese spy. So when your girlfriend's a Chinese spy, nobody trusts you anymore. You want to know who else is Chinese? Mitch McConnell's wife. So I didn't know this, but apparently homegirl is Chinese, and she ain't just any Chinese. Okay, like this girl. Hold on, let me just pull this up. Just hold on. I want to make sure I get this right. Mitch McConnell's wife. It literally shows up, Mitch McConnell wife, China. That's how bad this is, guys. Okay, so Mitch McConnell's wife, all right, is Miss Elaine Chao. Who is Miss Elaine Chao? You can't make this stuff up. You know what I mean? Miss Elaine Chao, according to Wikipedia, which is always the best source for things like this, okay? American politician, I doubt that. She is a member of the Republican Party. I also doubt that. She was previously Secretary of Labor under President Bush. That I can believe. She was born in Taiwan. She immigrated to the United States when she was 8 years old. Her father founded the Foremost Group, eventually became Major Shipping Corporation. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Well, long story short, she has ties to the Communist Party of China. And I'm thinking in my head, why in the world, how in the world is it okay for you to be married to someone who has ties to the Chinese Communist Party and you're one of the leaders of the Senate? That doesn't add up. That's scary. It's almost like we just trust our enemies. We trust our enemies so much now. Why? Because everything's digital. Now we can have confidence in our enemies. I mean, what changed? The fact that we're not having wars anymore means that everybody's happy with everybody? That doesn't mean that. We should not trust anybody. We shouldn't trust anybody. So for this man to come out and be so bold about saying, please, don't challenge this election. Stay quiet. You're going to embarrass us if you do. Embarrass who? I think the people that are most embarrassed right now are our forefathers, because we've literally just agreed to hand over everything they worked so hard to achieve and to just dismiss it. Just say, yeah, we don't need the American Republic anymore. It was a great experiment while it lasted. It helped a lot of people out. And now I think we should just try something else. That's basically what we're telling them. All those people who died in the Revolutionary War, all the people who died in the Civil War, junk. This is a nightmare. So, I'm trying to see where it says that she actually still works with China. Okay, so as Secretary of Transportation, Chow appeared in at least a dozen interviews with her father, James, a shipping magnate with extensive business interests in China. Surprise, surprise. Ethics experts said the appearances raise ethical concerns, as public officials are prohibited from using their office to profit others or themselves, particularly with China. Federal disclosure cited the New York Times revealed a gift to Chow and her husband, Mitch McConnell, from Chow's businessman father, James, valued at between $5 million to $25 million, somewhere along those lines. The company her father founded, the Foremost Group, has extensive ties to the Chinese state and the Chinese elites, aka the Chinese Communist Party. Oh my goodness, like, it's like they're running the country. It's disgusting. Like, how in the world are we sovereign when our officials are married to the people that have ties with the leaders of our enemies? How are we free? We are not. This is a joke. And it's an absolute hoax for us to think that we haven't been infiltrated. This whole time we've been worried about Russia, we should have been worried about China. So I'm just really upset. I'm really upset, and I'm disappointed at our leaders. I don't know if I could have done a better job. I do not know this. But what I do know is that if you are a person in power, you have a responsibility to maintain power. In other words, you have a responsibility to make sure that once you leave, this country isn't owned by a different country. That's kind of the point. You are put into place to maintain the country as a sovereign nation. Unless, of course, you were voted in to merge the country with China, which seems to be what the Democrats want. They literally are okay with absolutely everything Chinese. Like, let's make more deals. Let's have everything we ever could possibly need and own made in China. Let's make sure that nothing about us is separated from any other entity around the world and be completely dependent on everybody and everybody else and absolutely make nothing for ourselves or have any way of sustaining ourselves. Should one day, I don't know, China decides to have an absolute brawl with us, okay? Listen, I am outraged. This year has opened up so many. I saw a tweet from, I think his name is Matt. I have to pull him up. I follow him. He's awesome. And basically he asked, I wonder if more brains got washed this year than hands. And I think that was a really good question to ask. I really think a lot of people have been misled this year, but if anything, this year has opened my eyes more than probably any other year in my life. And I'm grateful for it. But I also feel like I have to do something about it. In small ways I am, but I'm going to get, more involved because I just feel like the rug was pulled out from under us on November the 3rd. And, when that happens, you fall down on your butt and you have to get back up. And we are getting back up right now. Like, supporters of the party that Trump represents are getting back up. Maybe not the leaders of that party. The leaders of that party are still on the floor. But for the most of us that voted for Trump, we've gotten up. We got hoodwinked, but we're woke now, and we're going to do something about this. We're not going to let this country just be turned over to communist China. We are not just going to sit back and let our votes be stolen from us. We're not going to be okay with our senators saying that we should not push for our own rights and for a transparent election And we're certainly not going to have all these crazy Chinese bots in every iota of our government. This is insane. So I'm just done with it, and I'm hoping that more people are woke to how dangerous this is. I've heard about seeds coming in from China that are like egregious growth parasitic plants. You know, I heard about Chinese making deals with farmers so that they would vote Democratic, and then they would have more food purchased from farmers. I'm hearing about land being bought by China. You know, I don't even know if like we're able to turn this around. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And it's also bad at just how oblivious most people are. So we gotta wake up, we have to act, and we have to realize that we are a puzzle piece in the matrix that we call the United States of America, and everybody has a role to play. So if you're a farmer, don't vote Democrat because somebody says they're gonna buy twice as much corn. If you are a member of an inner city, call your senator and tell them that you do not support a quiet person in office when all these things are coming down the pipeline and they need to be addressed. As an American, as a free person, you not only have the right, you have the responsibility to fight for your freedom, okay? And freedom is not easy to maintain, and it's also not easy to take away. So it has to be done tactically, and obviously our enemies have figured it out. And so now we have to be tactical in actually rejecting any type of progression for a reversal of the American dream. And I think we're strong enough to do it. I don't think it needs to be done in bloodshed. I think it needs to be done in solidarity. A lot of people need to come together and advocate for what is right and not so freely give up their rights, okay? There are a lot of questions about masks going around, and now there's questions about the vaccine. That's a good thing. We should be able to ask questions. People are telling us we're not allowed to ask questions. That's a bad thing, okay? You can never tell someone that they cannot ask a question. You have questions? Ask your questions and get your questions answered with good answers. Bad answers should not be accepted. Bad answers like, don't ask that question. That's not an answer to a question. You can ask all the questions that you want, and you deserve to have the right answers to those questions. So when you have a question, ask a question. And when you need an answer, get a real answer. And right now is a great time to exercise that right on multiple facets, particularly this election. Because if we don't have fair elections, we don't have a real democratic republic. So anyways, I am going to be tuning out now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. And encourage me to upload on Rebel because goodness knows YouTube hates my videos. And that's all I have for right now, and I will check in soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.